Hello, super sentence stackers. Welcome to the classroom, my ready to writers. What a wonderful day, a Friday, to be thinking about our words and how they can build so sharply and vividly into sentences that we are trying to write to make a really good story. I'm so glad I'm your English writing teacher and you're under my wing now, and together we are the Super Sentence Stackers. So, welcome one and all. I'm so glad you're here and you found me. How does Super Sentence Stackers work? Well, I need you to get a pencil or a pen. I need you to get comfy because we are going to word gather, collect, make jottings, and get ready for writing. I'm going to show you how I write, and you're able to see inside my thinking. And as you watch and learn, then you take part by writing your wonderful chunk. So across the world, we can write a story. But before we do any of that, please, with me, have a look at the celebration board because we have got Martin Silva, who's 11, who wrote Chunk 1 yesterday for our magical film. Have a listen to this, The Wish Granter. The sky was an inky black with white dots everywhere. The houses snuggled up, all asleep, as a man trudged to the piazza. It had been a long but unproductive day for him, and after removing a coin from his otherwise empty pockets, he kissed it and flicked it into the fountain. The coin sank leisurely before rolling into a wide tube, then falling onto a spinning wheel. It landed on a floating bucket and then soared into the air and crashed into another tube. Finally, it crashed onto a pile of other gold coins that shone vigorously in the light. Oh, I love all the detail and the movement in that. A really good set of precise verbs, and that is exactly what Mrs. C was on the lookout for yesterday. Okay, everybody, we know that good word collectors make great writers. So I always want to thank you if you are working hard on that part of your writing. So, what is today's film? Well, today's film is Preheated. It's a really unusual film where a strange liquid gets in the mix and suddenly our main character has a lot of heat on his hands, quite literally. What we do in Super Sentence Stackers is we choose a chunk. Mrs. C never needs you to write for the whole film, and in the link below you can find the film, and in the link below you can find the Choose the Chunk sheet. When you've found that sheet, or you can look at the times that are written there as well, I need you to think about that chunk and keep your writing within the time allocations. Today, Mrs. C is going to choose chunk 3. I like seeing chunks from anywhere across that film. I'm going to keep my writing within that chunk and just write as many sentences up to 9. I don't need any more than 9 sentences, and there are some other rules as well. I need you to put your name on your sheet of paper. My name's Mrs. Considine. You need to put your age, and we welcome writing from all ages. We have writing from really old people indeed. And I've put my chunk there, chunk 3. Okay, what are today's writing challenges? Well, I'm going to tell you about those in a minute, but what I need you to do is organise your piece of paper into a thinking side and a writing side. What happens on the thinking side? Well, that is our vocabulary vault. That's where we jot, note, put words down, ideas, all the things that are going to help us. Because we know that best-selling authors do that as well. And on the writing side, that's where we'll write our sentences. I love seeing work that's organised like that. Jottings, notes, scribbles, crossings, outs. It shows that we're really thinking, and the more we think, the better our writing. Okay, today's writing challenges. Many of you have seen a writing rainbow and you've seen them in your schools. And a writing rainbow helps us focus on some key techniques that we'd like to improve and get better at. So, what are today's writing challenges? Well, the first writing challenge today, and I'm just going to make a note of this, is Mrs. C wants you to write a sentence, a complex sentence, and I'm going to help you with this, but I want it to start with as, the word as. That's going to be a really important way in for us to make our first subordinating clause, and then we're going to add in another clause. You know, don't you, that a clause always has a verb in it, and a complex sentence will always have two, at least, if not more. How excited is that? Oh, I get so excited by sentences. Our second writing challenge is alliteration, and it's Friday, and I know you find alliteration so much fun, and I find it fun too. And our final challenge is we're going to use a special type of punctuation. We're going to use an exclamation mark. So Mrs. C wants us to use an exclamation mark. Okay. What you're going to see now is you're going to see me write. You're going to see me jot and think on my thinking side. I'm also going to have a go at building and stretching a synonym bank, and I'll do that on my thesaurus thinking shader meter. So I'm going to do a lot of background thinking, but I'm going to make it visible. You're going to see all of my hard work. You're going to see me knowing things, remembering things, making links, joins and connections. And yes, you also know that I put some words in the bin. I reject them. That's what good writers do as well, when they're not good or precise enough. I love writing, and I know that you love writing too. And I'm starting to see and read your improvements, and that just makes me zing with excitement. Okay, here we go. I need to agree with my whole world community of writers what the writing rules are. Well, we're going to write a third person narrative, so we need character names. Who are going to be in our story today? Well, we have Luca, who's the boy, and we have Dad. And we're going to call Dad Dad in the story, so we're going to use a capital D. That's his name. And we're going to use the pronoun he and they. It is Dad's birthday in the film Preheated, but Dad is a scientist who's always busy. He's so busy, he sometimes doesn't give enough attention to Luca. But Luca's also busy today, and Luca's trying to create a nice birthday surprise for him. I'm working on chunk 3, And I'm thinking also about a complex sentence. I'm going to make some jottings about what happens in chunk 3. Luca is trying to put a banner in the kitchen. He then knocks over and spills, I'm going to write down spills as well, a red liquid. It's almost like a red liquid goes into the mix of what's happening here. You know, Mrs. C always likes to write, put in the central character at the heart, and Luca's our central character. So I'm going to start right there. I never want to drift too far away from the central character. It's a bit dangerous what Luca does. Luca stands on the kitchen counter. Luca stands on the kitchen counter. And he reaches up high. Reaches up high. I don't need all of those words. I could say he reaches up or reaches high. I'm going to have that, high. He reaches high. Do you know, sometimes writing can get clumsy when you say things that are or that have already been said. You know, frozen ice. We don't need the frozen because ice is frozen. Sometimes you have to check that out. That's a really good edit to do. I don't need the word frozen to describe ice. Luca stands up on the kitchen counter and he reaches high to pin up Dad's birthday banner. And that means my reader knows exactly what's going on. Oh, but I haven't really done my challenge yet. As. I'm trying to start a sentence with as. So I'm going to build the first clause. Because what's happening in the film now is trying to attach it on the shelf. I'm going to write that down. As he tries to attach, it to the shelf, comma, tries to attach, that's that little verb chain in there for that clause. He knocks, oh, good job I wrote that word down. He knocks one of Dad's solutions. Now, when I say the word solutions, I mean it in a scientific way, a solution, like a liquid, mixture, that sort of thing. Oh, let me have a check here, look. He knocks one of Dad's, I want to say as the adjective, failed solutions. If it's failed, but because solution almost has a double meaning, it looks like I'm contradicting myself. So I think that word's a bit confusing. So I'm going to go to my thesaurus thinking board. I'm going to write down mixtures. That might be better. One of Dad's mixtures. Solutions. Experiments. But then it's not obvious. It's a liquid. Concoctions. Concoctions. Oh dear. Let me go back up here. He knocked one of Dad's failed liquid, let's make it obvious for the reader, concoctions. I'm going to go back and reread that. That's quite a long sentence. As he tries to attach it to the shelf, he knocks one of Dad's failed, oh, we always have things fall over in here, don't we? One of Dad's failed liquid concoctions. Right, oh, I've got to the exciting bit, alliteration. But I don't know what sound to choose yet. Alliteration is all about the same sound at the beginning. I'm going to start a sentence and then see if it gives me some ideas. Maybe before I do that, I need a really short sentence to kind of, very urgent, to show there's a problem. His hands Pulsed, I'm going to put. His hands pulsed, full stop. Luca felt a horrible, actually I like that sound. Let me see if I can gather any more words that begin with that H sound. Let's see how many I can find here. There we go. Let's put the little ear there so I can think of H sounding words. Horrible is definitely one. Let me write that down. Horrible. Horrid. Oh, horrid. Is it one R or two? Be a brave speller, Mrs. C, because you can always check it. I think it's one. Doesn't look right. Must be two. Horrid. It still might not be right, but I'm going to check that in a minute. Horrible. Horrid. Horrendous. Horrendous. Oh, I've got a few there to get me going. Let's go back to my writing. Luca felt a horrendous hotness. Oh, that's good. A high temperature. I know what I could do. Hugely high temperature. And something to do with heat. And because I've got pulsing, it could be getting really intense now. More than a pulse, a hammering. Oh, that's good. A hammering of heat. Oh, let me go back and see that I've got all of the hot sounds in there. Loose, oh dear, getting too excited with my sounds. Let me start again. Luca felt a horrendous hotness, a hugely high temperature, and a hammering of heat. Oh, Mrs. C, you've done that for sure. Drenched in that sound. Now I'm going to have a go at an exclamation. I'm going to insert some surprise. And I'm going to start with the word what. I'd love you to put in an exclamation starting with the word what. What a problem. It's okay. What a problem. What a disaster. Oh, let's actually check out what other words I could have on my thesaurus thinking board. Let me write down what I've got already. Problem. Disaster. What a catastrophe. Oh, that's a good one. Catastrophe. Don't get too excited, Mrs. C, when you're trying to spell tricky words. What an accident. What an emergency. Oh, there's loads of them I like. What a disaster. I've just had a really good idea. I could take disaster and put it with the well-known phrase, what a recipe for disaster. And do you know why I thought of that? Because that whole film, Luca then decides to make a cake. And so by writing recipe for disaster, we could get some cooking puns in there. Oh, we could get some baking ideas like mix and recipe and whisk and kilograms of worry and spoonfuls of intrigue. Oh, this could be good. I'm going to leave the baking puns in your safe hands because I know you like to really impress me. Well, I love this film and I want to send you off to write now. I'm looking out for thinking side and writing side. Can you do an as complex sentence? Can you have a go at some alliteration and include a what exclamation mark? Oh, I'm so looking forward to your writing, and it would be great if you can get it into me by 12:30. You can find me on Twitter at Jane Considine. You can find me on Facebook at Jane Considine Education. And actually, some of you have found me on Instagram. Make sure you put your name on your work. And by the way, I'm not going to be seeing you next week because it's half term. And Mrs. C is going to have a chill out and a relax and a bit of a break. But I can't wait to read your work. And remember, I read all of them. And I comment on as many as I can. Thank you, my lovely word weavers, my gorgeous pen pushers. I can't wait to see your writing. Thank you very much. Goodbye.